Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. As usual, you just pick the one that is for you, depending on where you are and the time you are watching. All the best. So, today we are going to be creating a scalable and highly available environment. Basically, what we want to do in this lab is want to be good English. We want to create a NAT gateway in another availability zone. We just want to ensure that our application is not in just one availability zone. That's one. Then we want to create an auto scaling group to automatically scale out and scale in our resources as needed for high availability. And then we also want to create a load balancer that is going to help us route traffic in a balanced way to our instances. So let's get into it. Yes, I should remind you again, I am just a guide, not a guru. So let's start. The first thing we want to do here is where is it? So we want to inspect our environment. And I really love this because it just helps you to understand how to check for some things in your environment. So let's get to it. Let's say we want to of course these are also going to be answers to questions. Now we want to know which ports are open in the Café SG security group. Even if they didn't tell us to go to VPC here, when you see security group, you should know that you're going to the VPC dashboard. So I'm going to type VPC here and then we'll go to the VPC dashboard. So we are going to be looking for the security group, this Café is the security group. We also want to check this subnets, want to inspect the subnets to be sure of if instances in them are open to the internet or can connect to the internet or not. So the very first thing here, it says which parts are open in the Café is the security group. So we want to go to security groups. Where security groups? Okay. So let's go to security groups and excuse me, we want to check for the Café SD security group for this guy. Just going to open it. So we want to see which ports are open. So we want to look at the inbound rule. So we have just one inbound rule. And here it says port 80. So we have port 80 being open in the Café SD security group. So we'll come here and we'll answer the very first question. Submit again. Now this thing will go forward. I will now move it backward again. Very terrible design. So I didn't say that though. Can you connect from the internet to instances in public subnet 1? So now, in case you don't understand what this is, that's why I'm here to explain it to you. So we want to know if we can connect from the instances and from the internet to instances. So we just want to be sure that these instances, they have first of all, the subnet itself needs to have something that is an internet gateway. So if it has a route to an internet gateway, then we'll know what's up. So I have clicked on VPC subnets now. Why is this not opening? So I want to go and look for public subnet 1. This is public subnet 1 here. Awesome. So now we'll come to the route table and we'll check. We have 2 routes and we can see there is a route table connected to the associated with the internet gateway here. So let's see what options we have in question 2. Can you connect from the internet instances? So it says no, the subnet has no internet gateway. It's not even lie. Sorry, it's a lie. The public subnet has no NAT gateway configured for it. We don't need a NAT gateway for a public subnet. You remember that. The network can somebody something. If you check the network access control list, you see that it even allows every kind of this is allow up here. So it allows it allows traffic from all port ranges. So this last option is nonsense. So the correct option is yes, if the instance has a public IP address. Of course, it does not have to be just the internet gateway now. So if it has a public IP address, the security group and network ACL allow it. So if these are correct, so the instances here can definitely connect to the internet. Okay, that's too much stories. So let's go on to the third one. Questions. Hyperactivity. Should an instance in private subnet 1 be able to reach the internet? So to check for this, for an instance in a public subnet to be able to reach an internet, you remember what it must have, right? Yes, me, I remember. It must have a NAT gateway attached to it. So let's check for private subnet 1. Here comes the guy. So we check if it has a route to a NAT gateway. It does. Awesome. So the answer is yes. Now let's look at the the fourth question. Should an instance in private subnet to be able to reach the internet? So we already know what we are searching for here. So let's check private subnet to private subnet 2. And then we'll come down here, you check the route table. We've got just one route table, and no, it is not associated with a NAT gateway. So the answer to this question is no, we're going to submit that. Now, the next question is something that has to do with EC2. So we have to move away from this place to EC2. Can you connect to the Café web app server instance from the internet? So now let's go and check our EC2 and see what we have there. I'm going to start this. Come on. So that it's going to show at the top. We're going to be using EC2 a lot. So which of these guys are we looking for? Click on instances, and then it shows us the instances that we have got. We're looking for the Café web app server in particular. So I'm going to open this. So can you connect to it from the internet? First of all, we want to check. It has a public IP address. So normal, we should be able to connect to it from the internet. But then let's still what's the English called? Let's still look through further. Then we just be something. Just by that one that we have seen now, we could say, it has public IP address, so it should happen that way. But let's just see. I'm coming. Something. Let's look at the security groups. So inbound traffic, which is great. You know, there is port 80 open and from anywhere, which is awesome. It's looking good to me. So let's look at what we have under the networking. Awesome. So now this is very great. I'm glad we checked, because we just enter small problem like that. And that's what they want us to learn here. Now, if you look at this particular instance, is in a private subnet. If it is in a private subnet, you do not expect that you'd be able to reach an instance in a private subnet from the internet. It's not possible, because this subnet would not have would not have an internet gateway attached to be associated with it. It is only associated with a NAT gateway. So the answer to this particular question, even though it was looking like yes, if you want to be lazy, is no. And we are going to see, Sha, when we finish at the end, because we're going to submit them. What is the name of the Amazon machine image? Now, Let me see where is here, because the way that I eventually figured that out. Or let me say where I first saw the AMI was when I read through, because I usually read through the whole instruction before starting. And I would advise that you do the same thing. It just makes your work a lot easier. So that is it. I'll give you a knock on the head. So let me see. This is the AMI. Okay. No, I'm not seeing AMI ID here. So I'm just guessing that it's not the AMI for this particular guy, but the AMI that we're going to be using. It's Café web server image. I know because it's down there in the instructions when we had to create an auto scaling group, I think. Where is it? So this guy here, Café web server image. So that's it, Sha. I think we are done answering all of the questions, Papa. Now let's continue what we want to do. We have finished inspecting our environment, and I'm glad that we could answer many of these questions, or all of the questions, Sha. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to create a NAT gateway for the second availability zone. We know why that is. We want our architecture to span at least 2 availability zones. Before we can launch an EC2 in the second availability zone, we need a NAT gateway for them so that they are going to be able to access the internet for patches and updates and everything. So want to create a NAT gateway. Remember, you create a NAT gateway in a public subnet in it, yes. So I'll come to VPC. Ouch. I'm going to make this a favorite as well, so that I don't have to go back and forth every time. As usual, English. Feel free to watch this on speed 1.5 or speed 2 if you feel that I am too slow or my talks, my cho is just too plenty. I cannot help it. So, I want to create an ad gateway in the public subnet in the second availability zone. And second availability zone is going to be USS2 anyways. If you want to check, just check the public subnet too. We see that it's in USS2. So what is the name? Did they give us name? Nope, they didn't give us name. So I'm just gonna say no. Let me say, oh God, sorry, my keyboard is disconnecting from the root. Very stubborn something. Okay, it's now cooperating. So what will I say? I'll say second NAT gateway. I think that looks like a name that makes sense. Whether it makes sense or not, anyways, NGW. Be smart. So we're going to be selecting a subnet, a public subnet 2. Did I do that well? Yes. So it's in USS1 So public subnet 2, sharp. And then connectivity type, we're going to be allocating an elastic IP, remember? And then we create the NAT gateway. After we have done that, I want to configure the network to send internet-bound instances from instances in private subnet 2 to Kineko. So basically, I'll just go to the route tables and look at the route table that is for the private subnet 2. Okay, I feel it's supposed to be okay. Let's check here. The names should be there. You see? So this is the one for private subnet 2, is the very, very first one here. Private route table 2. I would have guessed that, right? Anyway. Just easy naming conventions to make your life easier. Imagine if the decisions are not followed properly. Whatever, Sha. So now we are going to edit route. It already has a route table associated with it. I don't need to create a new one for it. I'll just edit route, add route, destination is going to be sorry. and the target is going to be a NAT gateway, and the NAT gateway is going to be the NAT gateway that I just created. And then I'm going to save changes, and we are done with this. Now I want to create a Bastion host in a public subnet. I love this badger because they didn't even tell us how to connect later, and they just assume that, should we have done it before? You're supposed to remember. Okay, now let's do it. So, I want to create a Bastion. We know what we want to use Bastion host for. I don't need to start explaining. So, let's go to the EC2. God, did I not make EC2 favorites just now? What is happening? Don't be stressing me like this. I beg in the name of God. So, do this. And then EC2. So, from the Kinaka, create an EC2, somebody, something. So instead of the Billy, I'll just come down here and say, where is it? Where is it? Why are you not scrolling? Launch instance. Thank you, my dear. So I'll say launch instance. And then the name of our instance is going to be Bastion host. Does it come down? Okay. Bastion host. Okay. No, sorry. I've forgotten that space is the God. So Bastion host, we're going to use this Linux EMI. We're going to be using T2 micro. We're going to use the Voki keeper. Where you be, where you there, where is you? We're going to be using what else? Auto assign public IP will enable that because of course, yes. So let's edit this network setting. We are going to be using the lab VPC. We are going to be using a public subnet. So I'm just going to say public subnet one. What's wrong with you? I want to use one. Public subnet one. They didn't specify, and I just said in one of the public subnets. So that's what I like to use. I'm going to leave this as is. I'm going to create a security group, and I'm going to call it the Bastion security group. So I'll just say Bastion. Did they give me name? I didn't even check. SG. They didn't give us name. That's awesome. So we'll leave it as is because it's usual. Oh, sorry, no, it's not same to same. Source IP is going to be my IP address. Now, the last time when we had to do something like this, some people had issues with this, my IP address, because their CSP was changing their ISP was changing their IP address anyhow. So if you're part of those people, you're gonna have to do anywhere. But me, I didn't have that problem. The other time when I had it, I tried to edit the security group, but I didn't have permission for that. So I just simply created a new security group and attached it to it. I think that worked. So that is it. If you had issue with your Bastion host and connecting to it because of your IP address, please just choose anywhere. Don't say I told you that. So now let's launch instance. I think we are done there, yes. Now, can somebody explain to me why my mouse is moving very slowly on my cursor? Please launch instance. I beg it. Launch instance. Okay, good. So now we are done with that. I want to create a launch template. I don't need to start explaining what a launch template is to you because you already know what a launch template is. I assume that I have read before you come and go and be doing this lab. So it's my laptop that is moving by itself. It's not me that is moving it. It's still not cooperating. Hey God, what have I done? What have I done with my life? What have I done to myself? What's that command mean? Somebody knows how to stop this. Okay. Okay. So I want to create a launch template that follows this. Why is the instance taking forever to launch? It's not supposed to take this long. So now we'll create a launch template by using the AMI that's created during the lab setup. You didn't create it, it was created for you. You know how to create an AMI already, right? Awesome. So now let's go to launch templates. It's still in EC2 dashboard. And then we're going to say create launch template. They didn't give us name for this too. So I'll just put any name I like. That's what I like the best. I'm pressing and no pressing. Okay, no problem. Okay, now you have answered. So I'm gonna say gone. I'm going to say cafe and LT. And then I don't know if this one is compulsory, but let me just do like I didn't see it. So I'm going to ask this guy to provide me guidance to set up a template that can use with auto scaling. I think we don't have any tag. Do we have tag? Oh, we do? We don't? No. Resource tag, not template tag. So now when you use the AMI. Now this one says go to AMI drop down, Kiniko. Just come to my AMI here and you'll find the AMI that you're looking for because it's more like you're the one that created it. So this is it. It has already been selected. I want to assume that's only AMI there. I'm not going to check. If you want to check, yeah, feel go and check. Nobody will do for it. It's a good thing to do. But anyway, let's continue. Now the instance type has to be T2 micro. I know that by now you know that there are some details you can decide not to ouch that you can decide not to include in your launch template. So but here they want us to use T2 micro. Guy, why you select T2 nano? They said T2 micro. Do you want me to fail? Yeah, please, I beg you, D. Answer me now. T2 micro, please. Oh God, one order of T2 micro, please. With no sugar. Thank you. T2 micro. No stress actually. All right, I'm saying too much jargons. To locate Kiniko. Why are you just telling us this after how many labs? So key pair. Now we have to create a new key pair. So I'd say create new key pair. I'm going to say LTKP, that's launch template key pair. Why am I explaining? Remember, it's going to be a .ppk because you're going to use it with putty next. How did I know? I know because I've read through it. Even if you didn't read through it, you have seen Bastion host. You should know that it's more likely that you're connecting to these guys from the Bastion host, and then you need the .ppk key pair. Now let's our network settings. Okay, I think we don't need to put any subnet here because nothing was specified. So we'll just leave that. Now, what else? The security group. We're going to select an existing security group and we're going to be using our Café SG. Where you did? My guy. That's it. Café SG. Let me just check because I don't like to fail. Okay, it is the one Café SG. What else? And Kinika, something, somebody. So yes, resource tags. We're going to say name and web server. So that's the name that to give all of your instances that is created from this launch template. Web server. Did I spell that right? No, definitely not. I know I pressed one nonsense now. Yeah, I said it. But this is not showing on top. Why are you being slow tonight? What I do? Okay, resource type instances that's been selected already. IAM instance profile, we'd find this in advanced details. I want to select the cafe role. You skip this, you have small problem with our cafe role. So I think that's all. Now I'm going to create this beautiful, beautiful launch template. The next thing I want to do is want to create an auto-scaling group using the launch templates that we created previously. You understand how this works too, and I don't need to stress too much. So let's go there. It's still there. It's still here. Just scroll down. You find auto-scaling groups here. And then we're going to create an auto-scaling group. We go now. Create auto-scaling group. Somebody, something. The name of this auto scaling group is gonna be Café SG. Where's letter G? G. So we're going to be using our launch template, of course, Café LT, and then next. Now this one we are going to do next tire. So I think we don't have anything we want to do here. So next. By the way, one interesting thing about using a launch template as opposed to a launch configuration is that you can edit your launch template after you have created it. It just creates a new version, and the one you have in your scaling group is updated. If you want to check this, you can try it with your personal AWS account, or you may even try with your lab account without necessarily submitting. Anyway, let's continue. So the VPC, yes, you can see this instance type. If I want to override the launch template, I want to put no types and all of this, that you do it. Of course, you're not going to do it. I trust you. So we're going to use the lab VPC, and we're going to use private subnet 1 and 2. Where are they? Private subnet 1, private subnet 2. Wait. I could choose to choose everything anyway, but that's not what they asked me to do. Now, skip all the advanced settings. We're not going to be attaching a load balancer. Where did they mention that? I know I've seen that before. Because we have not created a load balancer. Have we created a load balancer? No, we have not created the load balancer now. So, okay, what am I saying? This is creating load balancer. So, no load balancer. I'm not creating one. So, no VPC, Kinuka service, Kinuka. You want to leave all of these guys alone. And yes, my favorite place. Your desired capacity is going to be 2. You know what that means. Now, they have changed this interface, and some people are going to suffer small because I'm seeing something there already. If you don't know, you just start looking for what's not lost. So we have our minimum and maximum capacity. Then they say, where's that guy? Okay, we have not reached. Okay, target tracking scaling policy, average CPU utilization. You want to leave that. The target value is going to be 25. And God, they just read instance warm up. It used to be instance needs seconds for warm up or something like that. So now they wrote instances need. You start looking for instances need, but this is what they are saying anyways. So we're going to reduce this to 60 seconds. And then that's all we've got to do. And then we go to next. You don't want to touch any other thing. And I'm assuming that you look at instance scaling protection and understand what it means. It just means that your instances that are created are not going to be removed. That's scale in. So if you enable that, it's to ensure that even when the load has reduced, it's not going to scale in your instances. There are use cases for that. They did ask you to do that here, so don't do it. Go and read by yourself and figure that out. So I think we are done. To verify that something creates auto-scaling group. Now, I don't even need to go to the EC2 console anyways. I could just check the activity tab on EC2 scaling. On the auto-scaling group here, if I open my Café LG, has this been created? So it's currently updating capacity. Let's come to activity here and see if we have anything yet. Yes, of course. So it is launching a new EC2 instance and launching another new EC2 instance. So you can see it's launching 2 different EC2 instances. And why? See, it will tell you why. It is changing the desired capacity from 0 to 2, somebody, something. So I don't know where I learned that from. But that is basically it. Without going to the EC2 console, I can say that it's now launching the 2 EC2 instances for me. They are currently not yet in service, but if you keep refreshing after a while, you can see it has created them. So if you go to EC2, I don't know why this thing is not making EC2 a favorite and that I have to type it all of the time like so. So if you go to EC2 now, we're going to find those 2 web server instances. And then that is to tell us that we have successfully created our auto-scaling group and is now working fine. So I'm just going to directly click on instances here, and then we're going to find those 2 different instances. So now you already know that if you terminate those 2 instances that have been created, it is going to create 2 more for you. It will always create 2 more. So if you are working with auto-scaling and you need to clean up your, what's it called? You need to clean up your work, please remember you have to go and delete the auto-scaling group. Otherwise, if you keep deleting the instances, they are going to be provisioned again. That is how it has been wired. So now I want to create a load balancer, and it's still under EC2. So I'll click on load balancers, and then we want to create an application load balancer with the following criteria. So let's start one by each. So application load balancer, create. It's going to be using the lab VPC. It's going to use 2 public subnets. So we're going to, okay, let's be doing this one by each. Load balancer name, I'm going to say Café ALB. And then it's going to be internet facing, of course, not internal. You should read to find the difference between an internet facing and an internal ALB. Okay, I know I'll still tell you. The internet ALB will just route traffic from one service to the other. The internet facing route from the internet to the services in AWS. That's just summary. Got to still go and read now. So we use the lab VPC, and then we are going to use the 2 public subnets. So yes, it's 1. And then I'm going to take the public subnet 1. Can you cooperate with me, my dear? Public subnet 1. I'll use CSS 1B, and then I'll use public subnet. You can see it's saying that when I chose the private subnet, it says it does not have route to an internet gateway. It will not receive traffic from the internet. You know, we said that the load balancer should be internet facing. So you have to choose a public subnet. So says we should use 2 public subnets, and we have done that. We want to skip this. Let me see, security group. We're going to create a new security group. We remove this nonsense. We click on create a new security group here. We could be fast. Security group. So I'm just going to call this the ALBSG. And then it's going to ask for description. I'll just say HTTP, or no distress me. Okay. Now it didn't type H. Okay, thank you, my dear. So, where is it? Security, somebody. Want to create it in the lab VPC. Don't be silly, lab VPC. And then the inbound rule is going to allow from, they say anywhere, right? HTTP. What's wrong with you now? Here's HTTP again. HTTP. And then it's going to be from anywhere IPv4. And we are done. We're done with that. So we'll create this, create security group. And then we'll come back to this tab. We refresh. And then we choose the no security group, ALBXG. Remember to remove the default security group there. So listener and routing, we're going to skip that. And we are coming down to, okay, we're going to create target groups separately. Well, let me just check. I just want to check to be sure of something. Okay, can you imagine? I knew I was saying something. So create the target group in there. Create a new target group. What's the name of the target group? I'll say LB Café target group. Of course, our target type is going to be instances. The name is going to be Café TG. And then it's going to be like this. Of course, it's going to be this, and then, and this, and then this. You're going to leave everything. Just click on next. And then you are going to not register targets. That's what the instruction says. And I also believe that I understand what targets mean. Since we are attaching this to an auto-scaling group, it's going to do the work. If we're not using an auto-scaling group with the load balancer, now we would have registered targets with it. Okay. So refresh, and then select the Café TG, and we are done. And then we create a load balancer. Hey God, now this is going to take forever to become active. So I'm just going to pause this video and come back when this load balancer is active. Okay, I'm coming. Let's go to ASG first and see if we can add the target group before the load balancer becomes active, so that would have done something. Okay, So you want to click on the ASG and you want to edit it. And then you want to scroll down to where you have load balancers. Now, let me tell you something. Instead of even doing edits and then having to scroll and scroll and scroll, if you open the load balance auto scaling group, you find sections by sections where you can edit, and you could have just edited load balancing alone. Well, whatever. So I'm going to click on application load balancer, and then I'm going to select our target group. That's all we've got to do. And then update. So now we have to wait for this load balancer to provision, because that's what we want to do next. We want to test the load balancer and be sure that it's working just fine. So I'm just going to pause the video and come back when this guy has finished. So now that has happened. It's now active. So we want to open this load balancer, and what do we have to do? We copy the DNS, and then we would append /café to it. Where is it? Country /café, and then upload that. Okay, now something's gonna happen. I said it. So the so the URL was not found. What did I do? Did I copy the wrong thing? What did I type? Um, I didn't do anything. I don't know. Probably it was. I just still did the same thing /café. I didn't even add this other slash to it. So I'm assuming that I probably made a mistake somewhere, somehow, the first time I copied and pasted this. So you can see I just pasted it again, and the cafe has loaded. So it means that the load balancer is working fine. In case you have problems with your load balancer, you want to check all of these configurations. Did you have the NAT gateway correctly? The routes table is the launch templates with the IAM rule. Because I mentioned it the other time that if the IAM rule is not properly, as in if you do not attach the IAM rule, you're definitely going to have problems with the functionality of your application later. Then you want to check the instances to be sure that they have been deployed and they have been deployed in the correct subnets. And then you also want to look through your security group for the ports that are opened. So now let's test automatic scaling. And we enabled target tracking policy the other time, and then we have an average CPU utilization set and all of those things. So now we are going to deliberately stress our instances to see if when they have so many requests, are they going to actually scale? To do this, I love this part. They said by using SSH pass through the version host, the version host instance, use SSH to connect to one of the running web server instances. My favorite. So now go back to EC2. I'm going to select the web server instances. Remember, we have two web server instances. This first one, the second one. So I'll just choose any one of them. And this is where your knowledge of using Bastion host, as we did in, I think, lab 7, is going to come to play. So you want to open, you want to open Putty. There's still something to download from there. Anyways, so let's see. I'm going to open Putty, and then we definitely need the key pair that we used. Remember, we used a key pair that was provided for us. So you definitely want to come and download this from me. I said definitely like 2 times, very unnecessary. So downloads.ppk. Remember, this is for Windows. I'm not using Mac. So I've done that. So I've got the key pair. It's there with me. So this is the instance I want to use. I'm going to copy this. Where is it? Oh, Bastion hosting tutorial. Not web server, sorry. I'm beginning to say nonsense. The Bastion host. Want to connect to one of these web servers through the Bastion host. So it is the Bastion host that you want to connect to first. So I've copied the DNS, and then I'm going to paste it here. Now there are some settings you want to enable. First, you come to connection, and then you want to extend the keep alive. So I'm going to change this to 30 minutes. Then you want to come to SSH, you want to come to auth, not this plus sign, but to auth, and you want to allow agents forwarding. Remember, that is what you have to do so that you can connect to the private instance without using the key pair in your SSH environment. And then now to click on this plus sign, then credentials, and you want to browse for the key pair that you're going to use. In this case, it's the lab user. So because I've had plenty, so it's lab user 6. So now I'm going to open. I think that's all I've got to do. So open, and we'll say accept, and then we log in as EC2-user, and then enter. I remember because I did the lab. Now we have connected to this. Now to connect to the next one. Where is it? Remember that the security group that is attached to these private instances that we used with our auto scaling group does not have SSH port 22 open. So we want to edit that very quickly. So I'll just come to security groups here. Oh, I still have security groups open. So I'll come to security groups, and then here's the security group, Café SG. I would open that and edit inbound rules. If you do not do that, you're going to have problem. Nothing is, you're not doing something right. Of course, you're not doing something right. So I'm going to add rule, and then this one is going to be SSH. So here is SSH, custom, yeah, so it's going to be custom. And now you are going to reference the security group of the Bastion host, because that's where you want to connect through. I will connect from. Okay. Now it has happened again. SG. Oh God, keyboard problems. Why am I even stressing myself? Is this not Bastion, the Bastion host SG here? So save rules, and then we'll now continue. So for pass through, remember you have to use pageant. I've still not learned the correct pronunciation of this word. So I have my pageants already running. If you do not have yours, go here and search for pageant. You can see it, and then you open it. So I already have mine running. So I'm going to say add key. Remember, you have to add the key. I'm going to add the key of the Bastion host and that of the private instance I'm going to be connecting to. And then I click on open. That is all I've got to do, and then close. I've already enabled the pass through the other time, so that's just fine. I'll come back to put it here, and that command is SSH EC2-user. Okay, I've typed nonsense. Okay, oh God. Why is this happening to me? Why the good things, bad things happen to good people? I just wanted to say nonsense. So, Okay, I think I've got to use my on-screen keyboard at this point because what the hell is this? So user at, then use the private IP address of the instance you want to connect to. So I'll come back to instances. I'll select one of my web servers, and then I'll copy the private instance and private IP address rather. So you copy this and then you paste and then you connect. Ah, good. I typed nonsense. SS dot SSH SSH EC2 hyphen user at, and then paste, and then enter, and then yes, and then enter, and then connected. So you have successfully connected to this web server. Now, what we want to do is that from the web server instance, once you use this command to start a stress test, so it is going to place so much load on that instance so that we would now see the auto scaling happening. So I'm copying this command and then I'm pasting it in here and running. So is this okay? Yes, and then enter. Is this okay again? Yes, and then enter. So this is completed. Now, once you verify that the autoscaling group deploys no instances, we'll go to EC2 and check, and then we'll see that more web server instances are being deployed. That's the end of the lab anyways. So very quickly, let's go to autoscaling group and see if that is working. So because the instances might not have been provisioned immediately yet. So I prefer to come to the autoscaling group and look at the activity. So there I can see if no servers are being deployed. So something. This is updating load balancing. So these activities from before. So I just keep loading to see if that is going to happen. So while we wait for this to happen, because it could take a little while, we are going to submit our lab. So remember, we have answered all of our questions. So let's submit. Submitting would even help us to know if we have done everything correctly or if there is something that we are missing out. So it says the submission has been recorded. Check my grades and okay, it hasn't updated. It hasn't been updated yet. And I'm still refreshing this to see how far was up. So let's refresh the grades to see. So you can see we definitely 100% did everything correctly because we've got full marks. This means we have our load balancer properly configured and we have the auto scaling group properly configured as well, which means that this should occur. So I don't know why it is taking so long. I mean, I don't know how long it really should take. But then, okay, let's just give it a bit of time. So it took a really long time. I don't know how long. I didn't check time. When you're watching this video, you can tell from my time here, but it took a while. And now we can see that it is now launching a new EC2 instance. Yeah, I was just checking through this. So it's launching a new EC2. I said in a new EC2 instance, and if we were to go to instances, you'd see that there is an additional web server instance now. You can see we now have 5 instead of 4. And if I scroll to the side, you can see the one that is just being provisioned. So if I wait some more, you're going to find more instances being provisioned because it's going to keep expanding like so. As you can see, we now have 7, so it means that 2 more are being provisioned. So it will continue to happen this way because of the load testing that we are carrying out on it. So that is the end of this lab. I hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next lab. Bye.